Okay, so we are looking at the first mantra. So Brahma Devanam Prathamaha Sambhabhuva. Brahma was the firstborn among all the gods. Vishwasya Karta, he is the creator of the universe. Bhuvanasya Gopta. Bhuvan again means universe. So Gopta is the protector of the universe. Then Sa. Sa is Brahmaji. Brahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham. That Brahma Vidya, which is the most prominent among all the other Vidyas, all Vidyas, what did he do? Atharvaya Jeshtaputraya Praha. He gave that knowledge to Atharva, his eldest son. Okay. This is the gist of the first verse, first mantra. Then, the parampara is now indicated. Atharvane ya pravadeta brahma, atharva tam पुरोवाच अंगिरे ब्रह्म विद्याम स भारद्वाजाय सत्यवहाय प्राह भारद्वाजो अंगिरसे परावराम. So this Atharva, he gave the knowledge to Angira. And what knowledge did he give? That same Brahma Vidya, which was given by Lord Brahmaji to Atharva, he gave to Angira. And he in turn taught Satyavaha, who is Bharadwajaya, here is the ancestor. So Bharadwajaya, the descendant of Bharadwaja, who is Satyavaha, he was taught this Brahma Vidya. And Bharadwaja gave the Brahma Vidya further on to Angiras. So here the lineage, the parampara is being indicated. And then third mantra is Shaunakaha Havai Mahashalaha Angirasam Vidivad Upasanna Papracha Kasminnu Bhagavo Vignate Sarvamidam Vignatam Bhavatiti. So Shaunakaha. Shaunakaha is the student here. Mahashalaha. Mahashalaha is a great householder who has a great hall, and therefore he is a big grahastha because he does a lot of pujas. So Shaunakaha Havai Mahashalaha. Ha and Y are for emphasis only. He approached Angirasam. How? Vidivat Upasanna. With proper vidhi, with all the vidhis, in the manner prescribed in the Veda, he approached. And Papracha, he asked the following question. What is that? Bhagavan, Bhagavo, Kasmin nu Vignate. By knowing what? Sarvam idam Vignatam Bhavatiti. Does everything else get known? What is that fundamental cause to be known, knowing which everything becomes known? Then, Tasmai. To that, Shaunako, Sahovacha, Dve Vidye Veditavye, Itihasma Yad Brahma Vido Vadanti, Para Chaiva Paracha. So he answered, the Guru answered, the Jnani say that there are two types of knowledge which have to be acquired. And these are Paravidya and Aparavidya, the higher knowledge and the lower knowledge. Then the fifth mantra, Tatra para Rigvedo Yajurvedaha Samavedo Atharvavedaha Shiksha Kalpo Vyakaranam Niruktam Chando Jyotisham iti Athapara Yaya Tadaksharam Adigamyate. So Tatra, there, of those two, Apara, the lower knowledge, he recites the whole thing. Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda. These are the basic, the Vedas itself, and then the Upavedas, Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chando, Jyotisham iti. Okay. So Shiksha is phonetics, then Kalpa is knowledge of rituals, Vyakaranam is grammar, Niruktam is etymology, how to derive words, Chanda is the science of studying the meter of the of the mantras. Jyotisha is astrology. So he says all these are lower vidya, apara vidya, atha parayaya tadaksharam adhigamyate. So he says the higher knowledge, atha, now, para, the higher knowledge. So all you have to supply over here, para vidya, atha para vidya. That higher knowledge is yaya, that by which tad aksharam adhigamyate. That imperishable Brahman adhigamyate is understood. Is it comfortable pace, or is it too fast or too slow? So I don't intend to go into any details. Details have been done in very great detail during the classes. This is basically only a recap. And actually, I had thought that I would ask you to give the meanings, so that you can, next class, you should be doing that. You should be taking the mantra and putting it in your words and telling us. What do you say? Is that okay?
I'll quickly put my video off. I said I'll quickly put my video off so that you don't see my shock and the shock on my face.
Okay. So then,
Raviji, this para, apara, I know we discussed, but can I ask?
Yeah, of course.
So I know he has listed the names of the Vedas under para,
Yeah.
and he has said only that which, finally, ultimately, only Atma Jnanam is apara.
Yes. No,
So when
he didn't say Atma Jnanam. He said that by which Brahman is understood. That is a very crucial phase. Tad adhigamyate. Tad aksharam adhigamyate. That imperishable Brahman is understood as what? Is understood as what? That question you have to ask. Tad aksharam adhigamyate. I understand Brahman as what?
As myself, as consciousness.
As myself. And therefore that yaya refers to what? That thought in which you claim yourself as Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. That akhanda vritti, that indivisible thought, that is differentiated from all the Vedas. Otherwise, anybody who reads the Vedas should become jnani, right? But that doesn't happen. So you might be a Shrotriya, you might be have done Mananam also, but unless all that has resulted in that Aham Brahmasmi thought, you have not understood that you are Brahman. You have not claimed yourself as Brahman. That is what that line means. Very, very beautiful little line. Only Shankaracharya has explained that. Nobody else explains.
In Atma Bodha, I think it was somewhere mentioned this Aham Vritti. Like knowing the Aham Vritti has to know something like that. Aham Vritti has to know Aham Vritti. Even though Aham Vritti is the very basis for, Idam Vritti.
See, Idam Vritti is the world, objects. So, see, the thing is that without I, there can be no you or him or it. That is what is meant by Aham. Without Aham Vritti, Idam Vritti cannot be there. When you say Aham Vritti is the basis for Idam Vritti, it means that without I being there, nobody else can be there. You cannot be there, an object cannot be there, he cannot be there, the world cannot be there, Ishvara cannot be there. The first thing is I have to be there. That is Aham Vritti. That Aham Vritti is what? RC.
Yes, and I have to know this RC.
No. But RC, you have to trace the OC through the RC. The Sakshi has to be traced. But now I think you guys are in a position to understand. The Sakshi is that portion of the RC which is Brahman in the body-mind complex, or in the mind rather. Brahman in the mind is what is known as Sakshi. That Sakshi gives rise to RC.
Okay, so the comparing this with this para apara sentence.
Yes.
Then he is telling this process.
There only RC is there. RC knows that he is OC. That is the yaya.
That is
thought
apara.
process by which RC knows that he is OC. So remember that knowing the Sakshi is not, knowing that you are Sakshi is not enough. It is a very huge step in getting moksha, right? Because coming to the fact that I am Sakshi, you have crossed everything, but yet that final leap, that final leap has not been done. The final leap is you drop the Sakshi and say, I am OC. Sakshi is not OC. Sakshi is Brahman in the mind complex, in the mind. So that is why SPG sometimes says, in one of his lectures, he says that holding on to Sakshi has to be there for a very, 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 very long time. Maybe it will extend into lifetimes. When you are ready only, you can drop the Sakshi. And he says that is the pitfall of most seekers. They want to drop the Sakshi and go to Brahman straight away. That is not possible.
Acharya, what do you mean by holding on to the Sakshi?
I was going to ask the same thing.
When I say I am Sakshi, the Sakshi is what? Sakshi is if you're supposing, for example, you are talking about the sunlight coming out of a mirror. Okay. Then that sunlight is the RC. And that sunlight, if it could talk, it would say that I am emanating from the sun in the mirror. That sunlight will never understand that it is the original sun in the sky unless he drops the sun in the mirror. Dropping the idea that I am the sun in the mirror is what is needed. So here we are differing from Tattvabodha. We are not talking about RC as the reflection of the original sun in the mirror. We are saying the reflected light consists of three things: the mirror, the reflected light, and the sun in the mirror. The sun outside is something else. So that is the Brahman is outside. The sun in the mirror is you, the Sakshi. And RC is that reflection of the Sakshi in the mind is RC, is Jivatma. This I didn't want to bring in earlier, but then since we have discussed this in the Mananam questions, now this concept can be brought out. It's an interesting concept. It comes out of Vidyaranya, not from Shankaracharya.
And again, coming back to para, this whole process is being called as apara, of course, through the Vedas Pramanam.
Yes.
But the Veda by itself, he's calling as apara.
Words of the Veda are apara. The Shravanam is apara. Mananam is apara. Nididhyasanam is apara. The Akhanda Vritti, Akhanda Akara Vritti, they call it. That Vritti, which is not divisible, has no divisions, in the form of I am Brahman or I am Sakshi. That is what is Yaya.
Okay.
It takes time because now we have introduced one more complication about the Sakshi. But as teachers, you should know, these things.
Acharya, there were two things that you just said, which are slightly, there is a small difference between the two of them. Finally, Sarvam Brahman, but I am Brahman and I am Sakshi, and we just understood that Sakshi is Brahman very much in the mind.
Yeah. So in this Mundaka itself, it says, right, that you have to look into the heart. So that is the Sakshi. That is not Brahman. That is Sakshi. I'm not saying Sakshi is limited. The as if limited Sakshi, because of the reflecting medium, that as if limited Brahman, that is Sakshi. So in that Jivatma, there are three things. In fact, there are four things. The Jivatma, there is the mind-body complex, there is the RC, and there is the Sakshi. And above all of them, not accessible to any of them, is Brahman.
So then, is this Sakshi experienceable?
No. Sakshi is again claimable as I am Sakshi. And the awareness is the RC. You are able to think because of the RC. But from the RC to trace it back to Sakshi, that is all RC only. Sakshi is purely in terms of understanding. That means Sakshi and Brahman are very, very, very identical. All you are doing is finally dropping the Deha Vimanam and saying that, okay, Sakshi is not, I am not the Sakshi in my body, I am Brahman. That leap is later on.
Okay, so only RC is in a way experienceable.
RC is experience because you are aware of. Consciousness is RC. The moment you are conscious, that is RC. You are aware that I am there. So
RC is experience itself.
RC is the experience. I am conscious. That is RC. Aham. The word aham. See, the word I can only be said by a conscious individual.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure, Acharya, if I understand. I mean, this is the first time that you brought it up. So I guess that will take time. I don't understand the holding on to the Sakshi as opposed to jumping to Brahman. I'm not sure I understand that as yet.
If you say that you are Sakshi, then you are saying, I am the consciousness in my body.
Right.
I am Brahman in my body.
Right.
And therefore, you're seemingly limiting that Brahman to your body.
Okay.
That is the first step.
Okay.
Without claiming yourself as Brahman in your body, you cannot take the step outwards.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. Is it what they call Atma Paramatma?
Okay, now technically Paramatma is Ishvara and Jivatma is Jiva. Because the Upadhis are there.
Yes.
But again, having said that, I'll say that Shankaracharya also uses Paramatma very, very freely for Brahman.
Yeah.
Also for Sakshi.
Yes.
So when you come to, when you leave this Upanishad and then go to Katha Upanishad and Taittiriya, you will find that Shankaracharya drops these distinctions. Like he accepts to understand what it is contextually. When he says Paramatma, you look at the context and then understand what it means. Is it Brahman? Is it Sakshi? Or is it Ishvara? So these are all interchangeable terms, but at this stage, we can say Paramatma and Jivatma are the Upadhis because of Jiva Upadhi and Samashti Upadhi. Vyashti Upadhi and Samashti Upadhi.
Okay, understood, Acharya. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Now we go to the sixth mantra. Yat tadadreshyam agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrotam tadapanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. So yad adreshyam, that which cannot be perceived. Agrahyam, that which cannot be held or grasped. Agotram, that which has no gotra. Avarnam, which has no properties. Achakshuhu, without eyes. Ashrotram, without ears. Tad apani apadam, without legs and hands. Nityam, eternal. Vibhum, all pervading. Sarvagatam, all pervading. So in our detailed class, we give out the difference between Vibhu and Sarvagatam. Susukshmam, extremely subtle. Tad avyayam, which is unchangeable. Yad bhutayonim paripashyanti, and that which is the upadana karanam of all, the entire world and its beings. Paripashyanti dhiraha, the wise man understands that to be Brahman. Okay. Right. Now then comes the example. That is mantra number 7. Yathor nabhihi srajate grahyate cha yatha prithivyam oshadaya sambhavanti yatha sataf purushat keshalomani tatha aksharat sambhavatiha vishvam. So he says, just as the spider creates the web and throws out the web from its body and withdraws it also into its body, then other example is there, just as trees are born on the earth, just as hair grows on the head and the body also, they come out of a living person. In the same manner, the universe is born out of Brahman. That is the meaning of that mantra. And again, I'll say these are all, what they call, it's almost Google meanings. So don't go by the meaning. You have to take the meaning and go back to the discussion. Okay, then comes the Srishti. Tapasa chiyate Brahma tataha annam abhijayate. Annat pranaha manaha satyam lokaha karmasu chamritam. So tapasa, Brahman multiplies due to tapas. And from that, the unmanifest Avyaktam is born, which is Hiranyagarbha. From Hiranyagarbha is born the 5 elements, the worlds, and karma. Actions are born, and Amrit. All the results are also born. And also, the following thing is born, Annam. Annam abhijayate. So here Annam is the unmanifest. Annat, from the unmanifest, Pranaha, which is Hiranyagarbha, Manaha, it is Mahat of the cosmic mind. Satyam refers to Panchabhutani. Lokaha are the worlds and the actions. And Amritam refers to the results. They are all born. And I give you explanation of why the results are Amritam, which I hope you remember. If you don't, you have to go back and see your notes. Incidentally, how many of you really, make notes afterwards, after the lecture, after the class? Because you have 1 full week, right? That week should be spent in revision plus making notes. Otherwise, you'll find that as we go to the more difficult Upanishads, you'll be struggling to grasp. Okay, and remember, I'm not doing just the Moolam. I'm borrowing very heavily from the Shankara Bhashyam, because somehow initially I toyed with the idea of doing the Moolam first and then doing Shankara Bhashyam later. But I think most of us don't really have a very strong hold of Sanskrit. So that Shankara Bhashyam in its pure form may not have much meaning. And therefore it's just extract the meaning and give it. So that in one shot we do the whole thing. And then the last mantra. Yaha sarvayagnaha sarvagnaha sarvavit yasya jnanamayam tapaha tasmat etat brahmanama rupam annam cha jayate. So yaha, that Brahman, sarvagnaha, omniscient, sarvavit, also omniscient, but we said 2 things. One is the person who knows is Brahman, so everything in detail he knows. He knows Aham Brahman, that is sarvagnaha. Sarvavit is what? The person who knows everything in detail. And the only one who is sarvagnya and sarvavit is who? Ishvara. Because he has the knowledge of all the beings. No Jiva can be sarvagnya. That means a jnani. But Jiva cannot be sarvavit. He cannot know everything about everything. He cannot, somebody who knows everything about everything should be able to construct the world. So that is why Jiva cannot be sarvavit. And yasya jnanamayam tapaha, that tapaha of his, which was mentioned earlier, tapasa chiyate, that tapaha jnanamayam is in the form of knowledge only. And tasmat etad brahmanama, this from this Hiranyagarbha are born what? Name, form, nama, rupa, annam, and food are born out of this Lord Brahmaji, otherwise called Hiranyagarbha. This is the first Mundaka Prathama Khandaha. Okay. Any question? All right. So now we go to Pratham Mundaki Dvitiya Khanda. So tadetat satyam mantreshu karmani kavayaha yanya pasyan stani tretayam bahuda santatani tan yacharata niyatam satyakamaha yashavav panthaha sukrutasya loke. So these rituals in the mantras, tani karmani, those rituals, mantreshu in the mantras, yani kavayaha apashyan, that those rituals in the which are the mantras which the kavayaha, the rishis, apashyan, saw or discovered. Where are they found? Santatani. They are spread Tretayam in all the three Vedas, and Bahuda in various rituals they spread over. Tadetat Satyam. These are all true. Satyakamaha is address. Satyakama is the Sambodhana, address to the seeker. Satyakama, O seeker of the truth. Acharata Tani, perform them niyatam, regularly. Then Vaha. Vaha here is the Sanskrit Vaha, which means for you. Vaha, Eshaha Pantaha, this particular path is the means for Loke Sukrutasya, for gaining the results of your Sukrutam, of your good action, of your Punyam. Okay, this is the...
Acharya, could you do that once again, please?
All right. So I'll just break it up. Tadetat Satyam. This is true. What is true? Tani karmani mantreshu. All those rituals in the mantras. So Tani is to be connected to Yani. So Yani kavayaha apashyan, which the rishis have discovered. Santatani tretayam. They are spread over all in the three Vedas. Bahuda, in various manner. He Satyakamaha, O seeker of the truth, Tani acharatha, you should perform them niyatam, regularly, because Vaha, for you, Eshaha Pantaha, this is the path, Loke Sukrutasya, for getting the results of your good action. Loke is not world over here. Loke is the phalam, karma phalam. If you will go back to your notes, you will see Loke is karma phalam. Okay. Then, second mantra, Yada lelayate harchihi samidhe havyavahane tadajya bhagavantarena ahuti pratipadayet. So, pratipadayet. Ahuti pratipadayet. You should offer the ahuti, the oblations, where ajya bhago antarena, in between the northern and the southern sides of the Homakundam. Then, tada, at that time, this is the time. At that time, when should you offer? Havyavahane, the fire, samidhe, is well kindled, and archihi lelayate, when the flame is shooting up. When the flame is shooting up with all the ghee being poured in. So that is why when you pour the ghee into the Homakundam, that is the time when you are offering the oblation. Because you are offering the oblations to the ghee, to the fire, right? Now, the ghee itself is the oblation. Then the third mantra, Yasya Agnihotram Adarsham Apaurannamasam Achaturya Anagrayanam Atiti Varjitam Cha Ahutam Avaishvadevam Avidina Hutam Asaptamamstasya Lokan Henasti. So Agnihotram, the Agnihotra ritual, Henasti, destroys. Asaptaman Lokan, all the worlds. A here means up to. So all the worlds up to the seventh world. So you can take it as generations. All the generations up to the seventh generations. Tasya, of that person. Yasya, whose Hutam, who offers the oblations, who does the homam. Now the list of the omissions, adarsham, without that ritual known as darsha ritual, without the Paurnamasa ritual, a Chaturya Masam without the Chaturmasa ritual, Anagrayanam without the Agrayana ritual, a Vaishvadevam without the Vaishvadeva ritual. So all these rituals are basically laid down in the Veda as supporting rituals for Agnihotram. So if you don't do all these, then the Agnihotram doesn't have any value. And he gives 3 more rules. Atithi Varjitam. Without honoring the guests or without having guests, which is why we give so much of importance to having people in the homam. Ahutam, without the proper time. Avidhina, and without following the proper rules. If you do that without any of this, then it destroys all the worlds up to the 7th world. Up to 7 generations. They don't get the benefit of it. So I explained that we take it as the Yajamana is one generation, 3 generations before him and 3 generations after him. They don't get the punyam or the results of that homam which he is doing. Then the 4th mantra. Kali Karali cha Manojava cha Sulohita ya cha Sugumra Varna Sulungini Vishwaruchi cha Devi Lelaya Mana iti Saptajha. So Kali, this is all description of the flames. Kali, dark. Karali, fierce. Manojava, then that which moves very fast like the mana, like the mind. Sulohita, deep red. Sudhumra Varna, smoke colored. Sulingini, sparkling. Then Vishwaruchi Devi, the bright one with many colors. Iti, these are Lelaya Manaha Saptajivhaha. These are the moving 7 tongues, Saptajivha, of the fire. Very pictorial description. The dark, the fiery, the one that moves very fast, like the mind, the deep red, smoke-colored, sparkling and bright with many hues, many colors. These are called the moving 7 tongues of the flame. Then the 5th mantra, Eteshu yascharate bhrajamaneshu yatha kalam chahutayo yadadayan tam niyantyetaha suryasya rashmayaha yatra devanam patireko adhivasaha. So yaha charate. Supposing one performs the rituals. Eteshu bhrajamaneshu, in those bright shining ones at the proper time, shining flames at the proper time, yatha kalam at the proper time, adadayan hi. So adadayan means taking. Rashmaya suryasya, in the form of the rays of the sun. Rashmaya suryasya. Suryasya rashmayaha, in the form of the rays of the sun. Etaha ahutayaha, these offerings, these oblations, tam niyanti, they take. Niyanti means take. Tam is him. So him is the Yajamana. He take the Yajamana yatra, to that world where Devana Patihi, the Lord of the Devas, that is Lord Indra, Ekaha Adhivasaha, is the one supreme ruler. So Swarga they take him to. Then 6th mantra, Ehye Hiti Tamahutayaha Suvarchasaha Suryasya Rashmibhir Yajamanam Vahanti Priyam Vacham Abhivadantayoho Archyantiha Eshava Punyaha Sukruto Brahma Loke. So that Ehe Hiti is Ehi Iti. Ehi means welcome. So welcome, welcome. These are the words used by who? Suvarchasaha Ahutayaha, the bright offerings which you have done, and they take you where Rashmibhi Suryasya, in the form of the rays of the sun. Vahanti tam Yajamanam. Vahanti, they lead. Tam Yajamanam, this Yajamana, how abhivadantayah, uttering priyam vacham, pleasant words, archantayah, praising, aishaha vaha sukrutaha, this is your well earned punyaha brahmaloke, well earned, very sacred brahmaloka. So these are all the devas we're talking about. Devas welcome to Yajamana during his entry into Brahmaloka. Okay. Then Plavahyete Adrida Yagnya Rupaha Ashtadashoktam Avaram Yeshu Karma Etachrayo Ye Abhinandanti Modaha Jara Mrityum Te Punarevapi Yanti. So Ete Ashtadashaha, these 18 Yagnya Rupaha. So Yagnya Rupa is basically the constituents of the Yagnya. What all materials are required. So 18 constituents are there, Yagnya Rupaha. So Ashtadasha Yagnya Rupa. And where do you find them? Uktam, in the scriptures. Then Avaram Karma are inferior karma. Because this inferior karma, Adrida Plavaha, is like a very boat which is not firm at all, very fragile boat. Ye abhinandanti, those who claim that as what they are doing, etat shreyaha, as a means for moksha. Those who say that all these karma kanda is a means for moksha. So etat shreyaha, they abhinandanti, they claim that this karma is the means for moksha. They are mudaha, they are indiscriminate, and te apiyanti, they enter what? Jara mrityum, old age and death, which means punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punaha eva, again and again. They go into the cycle of samsara. So the 18 constituents of yajna are there. And upon these 18 constituents are the very basis for all karma. And he calls them inferior karma, making them equal to fragile boats, which will collapse the first wave. And he says those people who stick to these karmas as a means of moksha, they are mudas, they're indiscriminate people, and again they enter into samsara. Okay. Then the 8th mantra. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha vayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha jaganyamanaha pariyanti modaha andhenaiva niyamana yathandaha. Vartamanaha antare. They are in the middle of avidyayam, of ignorance, of deep ignorance, steeped in ignorance. However, these ignorant beings, manyamanaha, they consider themselves, manyamanaha swayam manyamanaha, they consider themselves as panditam dhiraha, wise and learned people. And mudaha, they really are mudas, they are fools, because jaganyamanaha, they are always deeply disturbed and move around pariyanti, they go around the world. How? Yatha andaha niyamanaha andheneva, like the blind being led by the blind. So people who are actually not learned but consider themselves to be learned, not only do they destroy themselves, they give lectures, they become acharyas, and they destroy everybody also. So that is the meaning of this. A very, very, I think it's a very, what do you call, pertinent verse in the context of a lot of teachers in brackets. Anyway, okay. Then mantra number 9 is a continuation. Avidyayam bahuda vartamanaha vayam krithartha ithyabhimanyanti balaha yat karmino na pravedayanti ragat tena turaha क्षीणलोका श्यवन्ते. So bahuda vartamanaha, they remain active in various ways. And steeped avidyayam, they are all steeped in ignorance, in avidya, and therefore Shruti says balaha, these childish people. Abhimanyanti, they claim vayam kritartha iti. Kritartha basically means I have done everything that I need to be done, which is the description of a jnani, if you remember Bhagavad Gita also. Kritartha, the one who has done whatever is required to be done, is kritartha. So abhimanyanti vayam kritartha iti. They say that we are jnanis, and yat aturaha, these unfortunate karminaha. Aturaha karminaha means unfortunate people addicted to karma. Na pravedayanti, they do not know that ragat chivante, they, due to their attachment, ragat chivante, they fall down, and therefore fall down where? To the world again. Shina lokaha, when the punyam gets exhausted, they come back to this world. They don't get moksha. So even if they attain swarga, when the punyam is over, they will come back to samsara. Then verse mantra number 10. Ishtapurtam manyamana varishtham nanyat shreyo vedayante pramudaha. Nakasya prishthe de sukrute anubhutva. So te sukrute anubhutva imam lokam hinataram vavishanti. So you look at the second word of the second line, pramuda. This, pramuda means vishishta muda. So this exalted fools, that is what he says, exalted fools, manyamanaha, who consider themselves ishtapurtam varishtham, who consider that ishtapurtam, all the rituals and services in the Vedas, that is shrauta and smarta karma, ishtapurtam. Varishtham, to be superior. Na vedayante, they do not know that anyat shreyat, anything, they do not know anything to be superior to these karmas. Na vedayante anyat shreyat, they don't know anything which is superior to karma. So they don't know jnanam basically. And therefore anubhutva, having enjoyed prishthe nakasya, having enjoyed their stay in heaven, and their punyam having got over, how do they get to heaven? Sukrute, accomplished through punyam. So there sukritam means punyam. So anubhutva prishthe nakasya sukrute, having enjoyed themselves in heaven due to their accomplished punyam, what happens? Te vishanti, they come back, imam lokam, to this world, va hinataram, or even to a lower world, depending on what is the next stock of prarabdha. Then, the 11th mantra, tapashraddheye hyupavasantaranye shanta vidvamso bhaikshcharyam charantaha Surya dwarena te virajah prayanti yatra mritaha sa purusho yavyayatma. So te vidvamsa. So here the vidwan is not a jnani, they are the upasakas. Te vidvamsaha shantaha, of a calm mind, self-controlled mind. Ye charantaha bhikshcharyam, they have taken to a life of bhiksha. So they are sannyasis. Upavasanti, they have taken to all this life, which consists of what? Tapaha shraddhehe, austerities, and shraddha here means upasana, meditation. And where do they live? Aranye, in the forest. What happens to them? Viraja, they are freed of attachments, they become pure. Prayanti, they enter. Surya dwarena, through the solar path. Yatra hi, that world. Saha amritaha purushaha. So amritaha purusha here is Hiranyagarbha. That world where Hiranyagarbha lives. And that world is what? Avyayatma. Hiranyagarbha is of a undecaying nature. Avyayatma. Avya Atma. The immortal Hiranyagarbha Loka they enter, which is another name for Hiranyagarbha Loka is what?
Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka. Hiranyagarbha is not Brahma. So it's that connection needs to be made. Otherwise, we tend to think that Hiranyagarbha is somebody and Brahma is somebody else. Brahmaji is somebody else. So that connection we should always make. Then the 12th mantra, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmanaha Nirvedam Ayat Nastya Krita Kritena Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Evabi Gachet Tamit Pani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Very important mantra. Lokan Pariksha, having examined the world of karma. So Karmachitan, he adds. Lokan, Karmachitan Lokan Pariksha, having examined the lokas which are achieved through karma. So you achieve certain lokas through karma. Karma here means punyam, obviously, right? You do karma and you get Vaidika karma and you get punyam. And with that punyam, you can achieve certain lokas. Brahmaloka is not mentioned here. Why? Because Brahmaloka needs upasana. Pure karma is not sufficient for Brahmaloka. You have to have upasana also. Only upasana can take you to Brahmaloka. So that once you get that fact into your mind, so Pariksha Lokan Karma Chitta. He examines all the worlds achieved through karma. And Brahmana. So here Brahmana is the seeker. The sadhaka is called Brahmana here. It's not Brahman. It is not, Hiranyagarbha also. Brahmana is Brahmin. The person who is a sadhaka. He uses the word Brahmin here because in one of the Upanishads, they say that a Brahmana is only a person who does Atma Jnanam or seeks Atma Jnanam can be called a Brahmana. So from that he has borrowed this. And having examined, Pariksha Lokan, having examined, what happens? Ayad Nirvedam. He comes to Nirvedam. Dispassion he gets. Vairagyam he gets. And what is understanding? Akritaha. Akritaha is literally that which is not kritaha. Kritaha means the product of karma. So akritaha means that which cannot be produced by karma, which is moksha. So he says, akritaha na asti. It is not possible to get moksha kritena, through karma. And having got this decision, so this is the decision he has taken. So the first two lines means basically that he has examined all the karmas and the worlds achieved through the karmas and realized that karma can only give you the worlds. But he wants akritaha, he wants moksha, and therefore karma cannot give moksha. And having understood that, then the tad, therefore, vijnanartham, to get knowledge, what does he do? So that person, that brahmanaha, eva avigachet, he will necessarily approach a guru, how? Samit pani, with the samit twigs in his hand. That is the way that it is said in the Vedas that you have to come to the guru with samit twigs in your hand. And gurum, the teacher, and he describes who the guru is. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Shrotriyam means who has done Shravanam and Mananam. And Brahmanishtam means his Nididhyasanam has been completed. So Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, the person who has done a formal study of the Vedas, of the scriptures, and also who has understood that he is Brahman. Both qualifications are necessary. Then the last mantra, Tasmai sa vidvan upasannaya samyak prashanta chittaya shamanvitaya yenaksharam purusham veda satyam provachatam tatvato brahma vidyam. So tasmai, to that person, which person? To that shishya, upasannaya samyak, who approached the guru properly. So these are all Visheshanam, adjectives tasmai, adjectives to that shishya. So what is the name of the shishya who we're talking about?
Shaunaka.
Shaunaka. This we should not forget. Tasmai, to that Shaunaka, who has upasannaya samyaka, approached properly, prashanta chittaya, with a calm mind, shaman vitaya, who is endowed with Shamanvitaya, Shama Anvitaya, who is endowed with Shama, etc. Means Shat Sampati is there. Savidvan, that wise man. Which wise man? That Jnani, that Brahmaji, or the teacher. Provacha should impart. Tam Brahma Vidyam, that Brahma Vidya, Yena Veda, by which one knows Satyam Purusham Aksharam, that absolute, all-pervading, imperishable Brahman, Tatvataha, as it is. Very important. That Brahman, as it is, means that Brahman, as your own self, you should know. And that kind of knowledge has to be imparted by the teacher to a student who is qualified in this manner. Okay. So with this, there is 2 khandas are over. We'll stop for today. We have a few minutes for questions. I think in the next session, we can probably catch up with what we are doing.
One to 11. 11th, I think, where it says that the one who goes to Brahma Loka, right, to Hiranyagarbha, which is undecaying. But that undecaying is a provisional undecaying, right? For
Apekshika, yes. Apekshika. Hiranyagarbha is also got a life.
So in comparison to what we're used to in that sense, undecaying, but otherwise not.
Yes, because Hiranyagarbha will last for one entire Srishti.
Yes.
So that we call it Apekshika eternal. Apekshika Nityam. Comparatively eternal.
I mean, because I do know of people who have said that it is, you know, it is eternal, as in with absolutely without.
No, Hiranyagarbha, according to Vedanta,
has an end.
That's with the very first verse indicates that, no? Brahma Devanam.
Yeah.
Prathama Sambhava. He was born. Whatever is born must die.
Yes. Yes.
So that everything which we say is logically connected into the Pramanam.
Yes.
Only if you say Pramanam is wrong, then we can argue otherwise.
Yes. Yes.
But if you accept Pramanam, you cannot say that Brahmaji will live forever.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Any questions? So tomorrow we'll do the. Anyway, tomorrow we are doing thing itself. It's fine. Where have we reached? Do you remember?
We are at I think we've just yeah, we've just almost ended. We're on the 10th mantra of the Dvitiya Mundak, Dvitiya Khanda.
Dvitiya Mundak, Dvitiya Khanda, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, one more session will be required to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay, which probably we can do next Friday and then catch up. Okay, guys. So actually, I wanted y'all to give the summary. I mean, that's.
Acharya, I have another question, which is not necessarily related to the Mundaka Upanishad.
Yeah.
But in general.
Sure.
Which I think everybody would really appreciate, but it will be a lot of work for you. It would be really nice if it is possible, if you have thought about it ever, to have an encyclopedia of all these Vedantic terms, various Vedantic terms.
See, the problem with that idea is that the same term will have contextual meaning.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is the problem.
So it's like this, right? So for example, the V.S. Apte dictionary, which you only introduced me to, he puts the context also there.
He puts the context. That is why he puts the context.
Yeah.
And that is why you see in the same word, he will have totally opposite meanings, but he puts the context.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
And that's a phenomenal dictionary. I mean, I have not seen anything like it.
Yeah. But of course, this is a dictionary for all Sanskrit words. I mean, various Sanskrit words. And
yes,
and not,
yes. That's true. But wherever there is a scriptural meaning, he puts that particular context.
And he also puts which Upanishad or which, which Bhagavad Gita shlok.
Yeah, absolutely. He's phenomenal. I don't know what kind of mind he had. It's a great dictionary. This was introduced to me by SPG. I asked him once, so he promptly pulled out his after and said, "You can buy this."
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for your patience. I am getting into the TTC. Actually, I'm not gone, but then they want me to at least do some of the sessions. So I may not be free all the time. Most of the sessions are in the evening with the evening satsang. So let's see how next Friday is, and then I'll come across. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Acharya. Thank you so much.